Now, here's something that we as vegans get to hear from pre-vegans on occasion, every now and again. It's their view that we do not have a sense of humour. Now, of course, this is completely unjustified and unfounded, really, this accusation, because vegans, just like pre-vegans, come from all manner of backgrounds. There's doctors and lawyers and policemen and politicians, plumbers and builders and movie stars and athletes and even comedians out there who are vegans. So I think to kind of blanketly say that vegans don't have a sense of humour is completely and utter nonsense. I think everybody enjoys a good laugh every now and again, some more than others, and some of us have got better sense of humour than others or different sense of humour, just like it is with pre-vegans. But one thing that we often have in common as vegans is that we don't find making a mockery of the suffering of animals to be something that's laughable or something that we should be joking about. So when a pre-vegan comes along and with great ingenuity and uniqueness states something like, bacon, we're not going to be kind of like laughing along with them and say, lol, this is really funny what you're saying here, because it's not funny. Because what they're actually doing is making a mockery of the fact that this animal has been bred into captivity and led a very short life, of probably very miserable short life, and ended up being killed and eventually as rashers of bacon on somebody's plate. That's not something which we as vegans find funny. I think actually this is something which pre-vegans and vegans have in common. We don't really normally find macabre things to be funny. So when somebody comes along and makes a joke about a sick baby or a dying baby or a baby in a blender, and believe it or not, these things are doing the rounds. There are people out there that tell such sick jokes, and there are people out there that find them funny, but I think that everybody really in their heart there finds it a little bit dark and a little bit daunting, and they're laughing maybe more because they're embarrassed than because they find it funny. Needless to say, I think most people, most pre-vegans, especially most vegans as well, all of us really, we're not going to find this kind of joke funny. We're going to find it kind of lacking taste and making a mockery of something which is very painful. So I think pre-vegans and vegans, we can relate to each other in this way. It's just that pre-vegans don't fully understand just how it is that these animals are suffering. Even if these farmed animals live a relatively happy life, they all end up following that route to the slaughterhouse. They all end up queuing up one after the other, waiting to be killed, and knowing fully cognizant of what's going to happen to them, because they can hear the screams of their sisters, their brothers. They know what's in store for them, what their fate's going to be, and they can't do anything about it. And even, just concentrating on those moments of their life, it's such a lot of misery, such a lot of suffering. And this is something that we as vegans do not find funny. So if somebody comes along and says, bacon, steak, we're not going to be laughing along. It's not something which we're going to be happy to make a joke about. Imagine as a pre-vegan, if somebody were to come along to you and look at your chihuahua and say, yeah, she would fit really nice into my bacon tray. That's not something which you're going to find that funny. And even if you do have a bit of a dark sense of humour and you do find it funny, you're not going to find it funny if the person who's saying that has a genuine intent of eating chihuahuas and eating other dogs and regularly bakes them in their baking tray. You're not going to find that funny. You might find it funny if it's one of your friends and you know that they're only joking and that it's never going to happen. But if it's someone who actually has a history of eating chihuahuas and poodles and whatever mastiffs, they're gonna. You're not going to look at it in the same kind of light. And this is how it is when somebody comes along and says bacon. They're not someone who's just making a joke because there's no intent behind their words. Their intent is actually to do harm. They're going to go out afterwards and have that bacon because they think that it tastes delicious, but they have absolutely no idea. They really can't relate. And this is something that we all need to do. We need to put ourselves in the position of these animals. These animals are not commodities. They're he's and she's, just like the dogs and cats, just like the humans. They want to live their lives. They do not want for somebody to stick a knife through their neck. They want to be left alone, and that's all they're really asking. We should just leave them alone and let them live their lives in peace. There's absolutely no reason why we should be eating them. There's nothing funny about doing so. I think that this is really something that we all have to take to heart. Macabre things are not something that we should be joking about. When somebody's life is on the line, when somebody is there suffering, we don't just laugh at it and joke about it and say that's funny, because it's not funny. We should be experiencing for them. We should be trying to do our best to stop them having to experience what they're experiencing, which is not pleasant, which is not going to make their, if we were really witnessing what was happening to them, we would not be making a joke of this.